This is a big moment. Finally, we have heard young Prince Louis speak for the first time. The video released as part of the youngster's first visit to a major sporting tournament at the Commonwealth Games, which took place in Glasgow. And actually, didn't the kids do their family proud at these events? And you can also just see how low-key they are with this new video of the clan walking into the netball released by Netball for Gatania Obs. And again, what I love about it is the opposite of Harry and Meghan. Harry and Meghan are like, look at us! Look at us! Catherine and William and the kids are like, we don't want anyone to look at us. Like, we just want to slip in. I thought it was so interesting. Watch. And it was after that where this new video emerged of Louis, where he makes a bit of a dig, but a very affectionate dig, at his older sister Charlotte, who isn't very moved by it. But as I say, this is the first time that we get to hear cheeky Louis, who we have all absolutely fallen in love with over the past 8 years, now at 8 years old, speaking for the first time. Watch. Oh, it's just wonderful. I will play it again, but just to fill you in on what happened. So Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is bringing Louis into the conversation, which is obviously a lovely thing for him to do. And look at these great images. And she says, you're learning your handstands at the moment and you're quite good. But immediately Louis pushes back and says, no, my sister doesn't sound very good. Watch again. P. Dinah, what royal YouTube sensation with me now? What I just loved about this is it's like, oh my God, it's not just the pictures. This guy is going to be the absolute heart and soul of the British royal family over the next couple of decades, isn't he? Because my goodness, he is a character. The latest bombshells from Harry and Meghan that the Montecito Mafia and the rest of the media are desperate to hide. Subscribe right now for the real story with zero spin and zero censorship.
He really is. We have all these photos and, of him through the years, and he's always been the little cheeky one, as the Brits say. And I think he's just got such a personality, and he seems so lighthearted and fun and just a joy to watch. I think that is just a win-win with him. He is really a cute kid and very personable. This is what people like to see, and he just brings a smile to your face. Even my mother-in-law mentioned it to me once, and I just know the Americans enjoy watching him as well and are just so consumed with him and seeing him out and about when he's in public. It really is nice.
Yeah, I know. I really think this Commonwealth Games visit has provided a lot of hope, P. Dinah, because it does show you that they can bring so much attention to events, and actually when the whole family is out, it's really going to wow. And the thing is, we're not going to see it very often, and that's okay. I think people are okay about that because in some ways it's the scarcity concept as well, isn't it? You don't want to see it too much. You don't want it to become normalized, but these little glimpses are quite magical.
And they make it very simple. It's not a big deal. There's not a big rigmarole around the children coming. They're there to support, the games and to show that they are involved in community, and they're being integrated into this royal life seamlessly, and it just is a joy to watch. It really is. And I think it's a lesson to other people on royal platforms, or global platforms, excuse me, that your children can bring something really nice and lighthearted to great things that people are doing in the community. And I think it shows how they're honing their social skills as well, and being in the public. They're integrating in a way that is going to serve them well as they grow up, because they're doing it at such a young age. And you have to applaud Catherine and William for how they are really focusing on their family life with their children, and having their children a part of the community. This is exactly how you do it, and you don't make it a big deal. And it's a casual thing, and it shows support, and it helps them with their skills, their communication as well. So it's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, and you want it to be fun for them too, right? And I think that's why the choice of the
Mhm.
Commonwealth Games was such a perfect one. This is a great event, a fun event, like full on. Do you know what I mean? It's not like Louis
Yeah.
had to be quiet or the cameras were on them at all times, like at, say, Wimbledon. And so actually,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to introduce them to these cool things, because, of course, there are downsides about being a royal child, but there are also upsides. And I guess that's in quite contrast to what we see with the Montecito two children, who get none of the upsides at all, and their parents who claim to be protecting them. Dinah, I'm obviously speaking about Archie and Lily here. Their parents
Yeah.
claim to be protecting them, whereas actually, I think by their weirdness, their sort of Michael Jackson decision to shroud their faces and do all of these weird stunts, and I actually think they're putting a bounty on their head in some ways, while at the same time providing the we don't know what's going to happen, okay? They're very sensitive about it. But providing the potential for, in the future, these two kids might grow up and say, well, no, like you actually stole a lot from us, because
Mhm.
I don't mind that my face was out there, but I would have liked to have been at, my grandfather's coronation, for example. I would have
Right.
wanted to be part of
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, and I think also, like, to the point with the children and their integration with other people, and having these important social skills. When you see strangers and you are engaging in small talk, that's a art, that's a skill set. And being able to have your children learn it at such a young age is helping them. I think Harry and Meghan's children are going to be completely unequipped with how to navigate social life. They are global kids. They are known around the world. But yet, I think when they're faced with having to speak with people that they don't know, and strangers, I don't think they're going to know how to communicate effectively, or to be a public person, because they're always being hidden. And Meghan, I don't think, and Harry are not equipping their children with a very valuable skill set that they need as global children known around the world. They are completely, I think, hurting their children the way that they are bringing them up. They're not preparing them for the kind of future and life that they are going to lead later, when they're no longer within their parents, home or whatever. They are going to be just trying to figure it out. Will they figure it out? Will it work out for them? Who knows? But I think I'd be very concerned, if I were them.
Pete Diner, someone's voice who we never wanted to hear again, the total contrast to Prince Louis, is a man called Omid Scobie. Very, very odd man. But the reason that in some ways he matters, and we've got to pick a hole in his arguments, is of course because he was the one who was trying to push this narrative, the Meghan Markle narrative, about the British royal family being racist. Now, P. Diner, look, I don't think you can deny that he is a very odd character inside and out. Do you know what I mean? He's clearly got a lot of
Yeah.
issues. And I try and be quite sensitive to these, but he's been sensitive to no one else. So I'm just going to share with you what Meghan's mole posted: proof that plastic surgery doesn't always make you good looking. And obviously you contrast how his looks have changed. But for me, it's not so much about his looks, it's more about his lies, P. Diner. And here's just the proof that this guy is a liar. This is just based on what he'd previously said.
And I will say I've never used the R word.
No.
I'm still going to call it racism.
And I will say I've never used the R word.
No.
That is racism.
Now, hilariously, he's now so caught up in his lies that he has suggested in this new interview that Prince Harry never moaned before he met Meghan Markle. Now, that is just totally untrue. And that the only reason Meghan Markle's time in the royal family failed was not because of her behaviour, not because of Harry's behaviour, not because of the bullying, not because of the treatment of Catherine, not because of the way that they infuriated the late Queen. No, none of that. It was simply because of the media coverage and the fact that royal courtiers would not push back, even though they did push back. Watch.
Have to worry about the
I think
thing
with,
that other people have to worry
I think with
about.
Harry, we did see him kind of accept that's not for me. I'm going to be the military one, and I've got my path. And he stayed on that path. No complaints along the way. Meghan enters the picture. She's going to join me. We're going to do the same thing. The problem for them was when the press started attacking, they really felt that they needed the institution to say, back off.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
And because it wasn't met, it fell apart. That's a really hard narrative for the public to know or understand when the press are the deliverers of that story.
Yeah.
So instead, it's just going to be painted as these entitled,
Sport kids throwing their toys out of the pram.
whiny kids.
Okay.
But there's something just very simple at the center of it. That is the real cause of all of this.
Oh my God. Look, as I say, you could just ignore the guy. But it annoys me so much because it's just not true. Do you not remember, Scobie, Jason Canal released that bombastic, ludicrous statement so early in the relationship where he claimed that there was racism against Meghan Markle. Now, that was a massive strategic error because what it did is it made all of the media think, what are you talking about? You're looking for issues. You're looking to pick issues. But they did do exactly what Omid Scobie is saying didn't happen. He is now literally trying to rewrite history. And it goes on because even now he's suggesting that Meghan Markle's failures are the failures of the royal family. That is a narrative, by the way, that we've seen in recent weeks. Oprah Winfrey has now realized is complete and utter bullshit. Watch.
It was interesting. I mean, I think the revival of Meghan was like the ultimate test for the royal institution because it was like, can it adapt to a multicultural or a diverse Britain and the Commonwealth in a way that it needs to? And it was its one and only chance. And we saw that in the actions that followed, it failed at that. But so much of it was just about not defending her from the inevitable attacks and sort of one-sided coverage that came from the tabloids. You know, I think we've kind of discussed to death those early days of the headlines of Straight Outta Compton because her mum lived, 45 minutes away from Compton, and somehow the newspaper connected it together, or there was talk of her being raised on the wrong side of the tracks.
When she went to private school.
Yeah, exactly. There was, I remember the Daily Mail did a family tree of hers, and they called her family and her past upwardly mobile. And it was like from cotton picking to wherever. And it was just like, okay, so already without opening her mouth, without even knowing anything about her personality, she was getting the British tabloid treatment, which is always going to be from that place of, if you are different, we're going to treat you as such, and we're going to lean on stereotypes, and we're going to pander to the lowest common denominator or their reader.
Now, all of this is nuts. It is so intellectually dishonest because actually, and again, I just think, P. Diner, about what really happened at that time. Sure, there are going to be a couple of people who maybe take an alternative view, and he's speaking about that Daily Mail headline, and there was a negative column, I think, by Rachel Johnson, where she spoke about Meghan's exotic blood, but actually the vast majority of people, me included, before the wedding were like celebrating this, wanting this to work. It was 99.99999% positive. And again, it feels boring to have to say this, but it's true, and it matters because he is trying to rewrite history. It was actually only after the wedding, when it was me, and this is why this guy hates me, when it was me who broke ranks and revealed that Meghan's behavior was appalling behind the scenes and that Catherine and the late Queen Elizabeth II were furious. But that came much, much later. So it wasn't like the tabloids were creating a negative impression of her at all. It's the opposite. But of course, the bigger point is, P. Diner, and I'll just get you to watch this before you come in, he puts absolutely none of the blame onto Meghan herself. None of it. Watch this.
And so I think when she then started to develop her own opinions and thoughts on things, that was like kind of like made things doubly hard for her. And then when it got to the point where she started speaking out, because she was already a woman of color in a hallowed, ancient, traditional institution, the fact that she spoke up and didn't seem deferential to it or indebted to it for this golden opportunity made people angry. It was like, well, how dare you? You're not even supposed to be there.
Be grateful.
You're not even supposed to be there, but you're there and you're complaining like death to you, you know? And that's kind of how it spiraled.
That's how it spiraled. I
mean, look, the guy's pathological. Okay, the guy is a pathological liar because the rewriting of history is astonishing. I mean, that is not how it happened at all.
No, it's ridiculous. And I just say, when he talks about the royals failed, whatever, about Meghan and, coming in as, creating diversity. First of all, the fact that she married Harry shows how welcoming they were to bring this woman who was from a different background into their, circle. So, acknowledge that, because that, I think, is a very important point. And he can't even do that, and not even acknowledging a lot of the things that everything that has happened with Meghan is because of her attitude and the way her character showed her nastiness. These are things that he's clearly overlooking because he wants to spin a lie and he wants to say things that are not truthful. And this is why he can't be taken seriously, because it's obvious to everyone that the problem was Meghan from the beginning. She is the one that came in with the attitude. I mean, imagine going into a home of people that are welcoming you into their lives, and you try to change things up, change the script, and try to set ground rules because you want to monetize this opportunity that they gave you. That would be wrong if Meghan were going into Omid Scobie's home and trying to do the same thing. He wouldn't approve of it, but yet he wants to claim that Meghan is the one who is being wronged here because the royal family put their foot down and didn't allow Meghan to come run roughshod over their family and their traditions. It's like, no, nobody would allow that. So this man, he is so ridiculous in everything that he says because he doesn't speak from an objective, a point of view that is honest. Because we saw what Meghan did. There is a bullying report, allegations of what this woman has done to the employees. The Queen talked about how Meghan was speaking to the staff. So clearly the problem was Meghan. Okay, no one did anything to this woman because they gave her the open door. They allowed her to marry into the royal family and she showed out. That's what's happened. Okay, this man can go kick rocks with his lies. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Pete Diner, this Andrew Mountbatten Windsor stalking trial is really odd and getting more odd by the day. But it was a post on X by Shauna Kay, which I just wanted to alert you to. She's of the Vintage Read show. Many journalists use news of the scary attack on the ex-Prince Andrew as justification for Harry receiving security, a clear agenda at the time. And I just think it is worth noting that, P. Dunny, because actually it doesn't sound like Andrew was in anywhere near as much threat as he suggested, which may mean that this was being used to sort of secure him the security, but there were a lot of people at the time saying, well, this is why Harry needs to be protected. Here's the front page of the Daily Mirror today, Andrew, my stalker ordeal. And this is how Woke ITV reported it on the main news. But first, the number one worst fruit for your waistline. Are you turning healthy fruits into highly unhealthy fruits without even realizing it? Fruit can be one of the healthiest things you can put into your body, but the majority of Americans are guilty of making this single mistake that can counteract all of the health benefits of fruit. Some fruits help with occasional constipation, reduce bloating, and even help burn calories. Others can wreak havoc on your digestive system and energy levels. I came across this viral presentation from world-renowned surgeon Dr. Stephen Gundry that showcases the 3 fruits to stop eating today. And it was shocking. I had no idea. And after finding it out, I've stopped eating these too. I'm going to put a link for you all to watch it because I want you to gain this information. I think it's truly important. You can watch it right now at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. That's thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. I also linked it in the description box below the video too, so make sure to click on it or just go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Oh, and by the way, eliminating these fruits could forever change the way we help increase energy levels, decrease brain fog, support digestion, and even lose weight. So make sure to click below or go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken to find out now. Dr. Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research and has kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting. His digestive issues are gone, his health is fantastic, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch and learn more about it at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. It's linked at the bottom of this video, but he'll teach you exactly how he has kept his weight off for free at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Just click on the link in the description below the video. But now, back to the show.
The moment the former Prince Andrew was allegedly chased by a man wearing a balaclava near his Sandringham home has been described in court for the first time. A statement from Mr Mountbatten Windsor was read out, describing how he faced a man accused of stalking him. Well, Isla told us at Westminster Magistrates Court for us. Isla, can you tell us more of what Andrew Mountbatten Windsor had to say?
Yeah, the former prince said in a statement towards the court that he and his security team were driving past an unknown car when they saw a man who was out of place wearing a balaclava, who then began sprinting towards him, which led the former prince to fear unlawful violence, that's the legal term, on the 6th of May near his Sandringham home in Norfolk. Now, 39-year-old Alex Jenkins denies that public order offence against Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and also pleaded not guilty to a further charge of using threatening behaviour against another man on the same day.
But they didn't really pick up, P. Diner, on how bizarre this whole trial was. Tom Sykes in the Royalist Substack did. He described the trial as descending into farce, as a dog steals the show, writing, Alex Jenkinson, the man accused of using threatening, abusive or insulting words or behaviour towards Andrew, arrived at Westminster Magistrates Court with his hound Indy in tow and was promptly turned away by court officials who take a dim view of random animals at hearings. His lawyer, Claire Howell, was left to explain the situation to Tan Ikram, the Deputy Chief Magistrate. He has had to bring his dog with him, so he wasn't allowed inside the court, she said. He is homeless and currently in a travelodge. He is not allowed to leave the dog there. It provides him with support. He suffers from ADHD. Judge Ikram responded, I'm not prepared to have a dog in the courtroom simply because he is homeless and he happens to keep a dog. I'm not saying he's not telling the truth, but there's nothing to corroborate it. Howell then told the court, I don't want to give character evidence on behalf of the dog, but having spent the last hour and a half with him, I can say he is a very well-behaved animal. The judge was unmoved, and so the hearing went ahead without the defendant, whose arm was in a sling, walking outside with Indy and leaving a poo bag on the street, which I hope he collected later. Andrew had been walking his own dogs, so many dogs in this story, on the edge of the Sandringham estate when he spotted a car he assumed belonged to press photographers. As he and his security detail drove past, a man turned and faced me. He was wearing a balaclava face covering. This is from Andrew's statement. Then Andrew said, I then saw a loose dog running towards him. Then he realized who I was and began to sprint after the vehicle. Interesting to note that Andrew, by this account, seems never to have got out of his car. and I must therefore profusely apology for my account of the incident and reaction to it immediately after it happened when I said it was the most serious breach of security since Michael Fagan. Many of you mocked me at the time, and I humbly now beg your forgiveness because I hardly think that a man chasing your massive Range Rover with a security guard in it would cause Andrew to fear unlawful violence. It's disgraceful the way a false narrative appears to have been disseminated. So, P. Diner, there's actually so much to pick up on here. It's why I'm always saying, by the way, you can't trust the mainstream media. You've got to stay with the independent media. You've got to stay with channels like yours. You've got to stay with Outspoken, okay? Because this was utter balderdash. I mean, what they were reporting, P. Diner, and this was people being suckered in by Andrew's PR team. It was the Daily Telegraph that pushed this narrative to begin with, was that he was under mortal threat and his life was in danger. And as a result, P. Diner, of course, Andrew needs full security, but of course, Prince Harry needs it too, because if Andrew's under this threat, Prince Harry's under this threat. I mean, look, the guy's clearly a nutter. I'm probably not meant to say that these days, but P. Diner, just tell it like it is. Bit of a nusser. Now, nussers can be dangerous, okay? Nussers can be dangerous, but I think in this case not, because he didn't realize that it was Andrew initially. Like, he wasn't purposely out to get Andrew. He saw Andrew in a car and started chasing after the car.
Right.
I mean, am I missing something here?
I know it's not like it was premeditated. He was being stalked and, waiting with a handgun or something. Yeah, he was completely protected in his vehicle. And this was someone that just, is doing what he's doing. And Andrew, for whatever reason, got spooked by what he started doing. And then the narrative was that he was out of the car and then he was in the car, right? Like what you were saying about how they just create these narratives and they just want this danger to be so real and heightened that the smallest thing that happens is turned into a soap opera. It seems so ridiculous. I don't understand how you could be so scared like that when clearly this was something that just happened on a whim. This was not someone stalking you and chasing you, and you weren't in any danger at all. We see people like this all the time on the street, and we just deal with it. You've got security. What are you scared of? What's wrong with you? So, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. I mean, they're just trying to spin a story all the time.
And this is why, P. Diner, we have to be so skeptical with all of these claims from Prince Harry. And I know that we have been, but this woman provided all. No. She's just a fan. She's just a fan from Africa who's been pictured with you and pictured with Chris Ship. Like, she's just a mad fan who travels across the world. And as I keep saying, P. Diner, yeah, you've got to be mad to want to travel all over the world to go and see Prince Harry, because then Prince Harry is going to claim that you're a security threat. Like, what a terrible person you are. Like, he should actually just be so grateful to that woman. Oh my God, you're traveling around the world to see me. Like, how wonderful. Like, instead it's like, you're a threat to me. They are looking for threats. And of course, this is sensitive, P. Diner, because what they want to do is put too much fear in people to sometimes call this out. Because, of course, we're not saying that there's never going to be a security threat. And maybe in time there will be a genuine threat. And, of course, that needs to be avoided. But at the same time, to me, this looks like fakery, trying to basically claim something which is pretty run-of-the-mill as a threat when it's not a threat. But I do think the overwhelming message from this is you cannot trust what the mainstream media are telling you. They are too reliant on the PRs for the royal family, the courtiers for the royal family. Very often they're pushing a particular narrative, and I think in this case that's what they're doing. And as I say, P. Diner, without wanting to be too self-referential, that's why people need to subscribe to channels like yours at PDINA on YouTube, because we are independent. P. Diner is going to deliver you her truthful analysis, and also here on Outspoken too at www.outspoken.live. But P. Diner, thank you